pretty grand indictment on some of the political class of New South Wales and pretty much all the media in Australia that 3 years after the firebombing of my house by organised crime, one of the most high-profile and prolific public advocates for justice for getting to the bottom of exactly who ordered the firebombing isn't even from Australia, let alone New South Wales. A literal Florida man is doing way more than a lot of political figures who I once held in quite high esteem. Yep, Charlie once again is coming to my rescue and making a video about the firebombing, continuing his principled stance against firebombings in general. In case you're not up to speed with this whole firebombing business, you can watch a bunch of my videos on it in the playlist linked in the description, but I'll give you a brief rundown. I make videos about a range of topics and people. Let's leave it at that. And in 2022, someone really didn't like some of the videos and ordered that my house get burnt down. And in the years since the firebombing, New South Wales Police launched an investigation. They made some arrests and just a few weeks ago secured a conviction against one of the firebombers. Now, what Charlie reiterated in his video about this conviction is something I want to reiterate right now.
No, they know everything that needs to be known about his motive. He was hired to do it. He was the muscle. Hired by who? Cares. Who cares? They don't give a fuck. Just gonna send him to jail for just a little brief period of time here and just let this whole thing quietly die down so that way people don't ask too many questions about this whole firebombing, hoopla, that kind of thing. Because there's no need to dig any deeper on who might have paid for this kind of thing to happen. You know, it's just, he was the muscle. Ah, come on, let's move on.
The firebombing was a planned attack. Its purpose was to send a message. That message being, do not talk about certain people and their activities anymore. And those certain people were not the hired muscle, as I've never spoken about Toofy, whatever his name is before, the guy who actually did the physical firebombing. But I must admit, I do know now who and what I'm not allowed to talk about. So there's a paradox. If the firebombing was designed to send that message, and I got that message loud and clear, mind you, I got that same message additionally multiple times after the firebombing too. How can the state fail to even get one single charge up on the people who ordered the firebombing? If I know who they are, if the audience can deduce who they are, if the police know who they are, if everyone on Macquarie Street knows who they are, why haven't they been charged? You could wave it away and say, oh, the burden of proof is too high for a charge, but I will tell you right now that more than enough has happened since the firebombing that warrants at least certain charges or avenues of inquiry against certain individuals at the very least. Unfortunately, to the best of my knowledge, these are things that the police have not yet explored. But I am completely willing to give the authorities the benefit of the doubt on this one and will happily wait and cross my fingers for a charge. Who I'm not willing to give the benefit of the doubt to anymore are the politicians who have decided in the wake of the firebombing of my house, in the wake of my work, the wake of the very public ventilation of the associations and prior convictions of certain businessmen, in the wake of shootings and murders on Sydney streets every few weeks, to work with a certain construction company, to meet with them, to build them up, to help them become one of the largest developers in New South Wales. I'm sorry, but I've got to name these people. Former Premier Maurice Yemmer, who took up a lobbying contract with this company. The New South Wales Housing Minister, Rose Jackson, who's taken meetings with this company and visited their sites. Former Federal Government Minister, self-styled fixer and machine hack, Darth Vader without his helmet. Sorry, I mean Graham Richardson, who, while I'm glad that this absolutely plays into his happy to get down and dirty aesthetic, he was listed as a representative of this company at a meeting with Rose Jackson. This has to stop. If the federal government can expel Iran's ambassadors for alleged firebombings with far less proof than the circumstances surrounding this firebombing, the state government can most certainly cut ties and collaboration with this company. I get that the government's trying to address a housing crisis, and unlike the last government, actually is, and I applaud them for taking serious action on this. Australia might be short on materials and construction workers, but if there's one thing that they're not short of in the building game, it's developers happy to make a quick buck off the government. Up until now, you could have pretended not to have known any better, but not anymore. If the firebombing was designed to send me a message, consider this my verbal firebombing to you in the form of a literal message. As lucky for you guys, unlike the people you work with, I'm not as desperate and filthy of an animal whose only instinct is to resort to violence in the pursuit of profit, but my message is, can you stop? Can you end any associations with this company and these people immediately? You know better. Thank you very, very much, Charlie, for talking about this topic in particular. I do want to highlight this part.
And it's not just him, he does have a team as well that takes the same risk. They have some very powerful enemies over there. And it is very clear that they are willing to go to extreme lengths to silence Geordies and his team.
He's not wrong. As you can probably tell from this video, we do deal with some pretty hectic stuff, and it's not just me sticking my neck out. There's an entire team with me who are quite frankly overworked and underpaid to make the videos that we put out. It's a pretty stressful job, and they get paid from our Patreon. Please consider supporting us there. It's the cost of an OK coffee every single month, and the amount of societal value that this channel produces, especially for the size of it, I think it's worth that coffee. Now, we've said this before, but all of us could have much easier lives than we currently do. It would be so easy to increase the number of views by doing less risky, more clickable, monetizable, advertiser-friendly work. It would also be about a quarter of the effort, mind you, which would be a nice bonus. But the reason we push on despite the obvious dangers that come with this job is because, as you can clearly see, no one else is willing to do it. It's not like we enjoy doing it. We could all be doing different things. We do it purely because we think it's civically necessary and socially responsible to do. And if you think the same, your support wouldn't just help us continue going, more importantly, it would help us expand. All money made off of Patreon goes to wages. The more money we have, the more wages we can cover, the more work gets done. Thanks for your time. Actually, on making this video, we did go back and watch when we first found out about the firebombing. And that really cemented to me what a voluntary place New South Wales is. Look at how the media reacted at first glance. In case you haven't heard, and the press did everything that they possibly could to make sure that you know exactly where I live.
Here on Wilga Street, because of who lives here out the back, YouTuber and political comedian Jordan Shanks.
Thank you very much, you vultures. My house was burned down to some degree. I don't know, I haven't seen it yet because I just came back from a tour. So we're going to go now and look at the damage. But yeah, it looks like it was some heavy hitters. There's obviously a few suspects that I might be divulging in a press conference soon. And let's see how much those sacks of sorry vermin let go to the news. Because so far their story has been, with so many enemies and so many people hating him, it's a wonder that this hasn't happened sooner. Oh, okay, so you wish death on me. Thanks so much.
Police admit given Shanks' controversial videos posted online, there may be a long list of people who have issues with him.